lack of faith disturbing.
I have no lack of faith in the Giants or in Joe Shane. This is Tim. This is your Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. The Saquon Barkley drama is heating up. It's getting there. It's reaching a fever pitch. We have mandatory minicamp starting on Tuesday, starting mañana. Here's the one thing, guys, and everyone's all, he's not going to be there. This is crazy. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, guys, he doesn't have a contract. He's not required to be there. He hasn't signed his franchise tag. He's not required to be there. It's not that big of a deal. It's a 3-day minicamp. Once we get into the dog days of summer and we hit into training camp, then I will be concerned. I don't need to hear about the camaraderie that he needs to build with his teammates in this. That's all bullshit. This is a business. The NFL is a business. Saquon is trying to get paid. And at the end of the day, if you are not under contract, you are not obligated to be at the mandatory minicamp. If he does not sign his franchise tag, the Giants will not allow him to come to mandatory minicamp. That's all it is. But he had a youth football camp the other day, Saquon did. And some of the stuff that he said I found really, really interesting. And I want to play some of the clips. So hold on, let's play some of these clips.
It's done by July 17th.
I don't know, really. I don't know.
Where are the state of negotiations now? Are you talking? Are they open to talking right now, or are you kind of just in a holding pattern?
I think they're open to talking. I think I'm open to talking. But I think at the end of the day, when you really break it down and break it down and look at it as a whole, it's no rush. It's no rush. You still have time. There's still time on the table to get to July 17th. July 17th is not tomorrow. It's not in a week. We still have time, and that's how I look at it. I guess that's like the naive way to look at it, and I could be completely wrong. But for me, that's how I look at it, and I trust my team, and hopefully I trust in the Giants that we can get something done.
Joe was very open that they pulled the offers. Did that surprise you at all? Did they going through this process?
Like I said, that's for a whole nother time.
This is for a whole nother time. He's set the deadline. He's basically setting the deadline of July 17th. He is saying July 17th is my day. He's said it multitudes of times now. And July 17th is, of course, when the franchise tag needs to be signed. So he is giving the Giants a drop-dead date. Here's my date. Joe Shane, here's my date. Now, what happens after that date is what's going to be interesting. That's what I find curious. What happens after that date? And he came out and also said, we say family business is family business in the facility, in the building, and I'm sticking to that, Barkley said. The thing I'm frustrated most with is that, like how I said, family business, and then sources come out and stories get leaked, and it didn't come from me. I feel like it's trying to paint a narrative of me, a picture of me, and that's not true. It's not even close to being true. So, there were stipulations that the Giants came out with these big numbers. There's stipulations that the Giants came out, giving them $14 million on this. And we've talked about this before. He received the contract offer during the bye week. It turned out there was like a 3 or 4 year deal. Only the first year was guaranteed, and only half the money was guaranteed in year 2. As a football player and as a player's agent, I would tell Saquon not to accept that deal. Because that is a deal that I would not take, because it is not a deal that's market friendly. It may be, people always talk about how Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott being released has reset the market, and the market value is just not there. Here's the problem with that. A lot of times, the market value of a running back will dictate what someone else gets. But you also need to remember the importance of a running back to a team. If you're telling me you're confident with Eric Gray and Matt Breida going into the season as your primary options at running back, when Saquon Barkley is probably going to be about 50% of this offense, you are crazy. So it is not just the value, running back market value that is being set. It's the value of the importance of the player to the team. A lot of times teams will overpay players a little bit over market value because they understand the importance of this team. Now, the big question is going to be this. Everyone talks about how Daniel Jones had his renaissance year, how Daniel Jones was this 3,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, had such a great season. Daniel Jones has not, if we take a look at history, Daniel Jones's career arc flattened and dipped when Saquon Barkley was either not in the lineup or not healthy. It's interesting that his big seasons have occurred when Saquon Barkley was in the backfield. So we've talked about this in the stream yesterday with Rob. Is Daniel Jones a product of Saquon Barkley's success? And what happens if Saquon Barkley's not there? I talked about this, that if you go back to Dak Prescott's early portion of his career, the large portion of his early part of his career was predicated on the success of Ezekiel Elliott. When Zeke was not in the game, Zach had issues. Now, Zach has grown as a quarterback since Dak has grown as a quarterback since then. Well, I keep calling him Zach. I have no clue. But Dak has grown as a quarterback since then. But when Zeke early on, those first couple of years, was not in the game, he suffered. Dak Prescott did. So the question is going to be this. Is Daniel Jones's play going to suffer when you have people putting 7-8 in the box and daring the Giants to throw? What is going to happen when you take away that threat? Now, Saquon also talks about the running back market. So this one's a little bit longer, but let's listen to this clip as well.
Saquon, quick question about the market for running backs. Do you think maybe, in the next collective bargaining or something that the union and the owners can come together and find something that works out better for running backs? Because it seems like a lot of guys are just not being paid at the value that they need to be paid.
I don't know, because that's going to be in 10 years. And to be honest, I love the game a lot, but I don't see myself being on a football field in 10 years. But what I will say about the running back market and the value of it, what do you think is going to happen? They tagged the top 3 guys. We didn't even get a chance to hit the open market. So when we don't get a chance to hit the open market, it hurts a guy like Miles. It hurts all those other guys. They put the cap at 10. And then when they have the tag, they have all the leverage. And that's the reality of it. But there's a personal side of it too. There's a human side of it too. And going off back to the question what Kim said, how I felt like that, they're diminishing what I've done since 2018. I'm not saying that, but everyone will talk about the running back market and this and that and the third. Every team is different. Like everyone, there's a thing that goes up, and I think you mentioned it before about quarterbacks in the Super Bowl and how many rushing yards the top rusher. But every team is not like every team. Pat Mahomes is a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time MVP, and like this is not everybody have Pat Mahomes, and this is no knock to Daniel Jones, so don't even try to flip like that. And then you look at the Eagles who play Jalen Hurts, a great quarterback. That team is amazing, but every team is not the Eagles. Every team don't have that much talent. And when you come to my situation, come to me personally, I feel like that I helped our team a lot. I feel like not only on the field but off the field. I feel like as a leader, I feel like obviously there's a conversation of my numbers going down. I think there's a whole lot of other stuff that happened to play as NFL. We were a one-dimensional team in the beginning of the season. We were running the ball. We have a great coach. We played Detroit Lions. They came in, bust that ass, stopped me. We had to switch it up, and we have a great coach with Days and with Cav, and we had a whole new game plan. We came out and found a way to get the job done and make it to the playoffs. But going to the running back market, when you talk about the running back, no, I don't agree with that. I think that it's not fair because I don't think Tennessee Titans is a great team, but Derrick Henry's one of those guys on those team. St. Fran's a great team, but Christian McCaffrey's one of those guys on the team. Josh Jacobs, the list go on and on. And I think when you talk about the New York Giants, I think even Pierce came out and said it. I have a lot of respect in this league, and I think that's how it should be viewed.
And that's a great point. They didn't allow the top 3 running backs, free agent running backs, to hit the market. They all tagged them. They tagged them. So the importance was they have this number, and I'm thinking that organizations understand that $10 million for a franchise running back or a top 5 running back is a steal. It is literally a steal. And Saquon pointed out so succinctly, and I love the fact how he said, let's not try to flip it on to Daniel Jones, but the Giants were a one-dimensional team for a large portion of the season. They were a running team. They were a running team that then turned into a running play-action passing team. That's what they were. They didn't really take deep shots. Daniel Jones only threw 28 deep passes, which wasn't even true because if you go, I'm not going to get into that. But he's right. He's 100% right. The Giants' focal point of that offense for an extended period of time, and when they played well, was predicated on him and Daniel Jones running the ball. And a lot of Daniel Jones's big runs was because of the fact that Saquon Barkley was in the backfield or present, because of the fact that you don't know who you're going to focus on. And I've said this once before, the league is secular. They figure things out. Now, you can do something one year and you can't loop around and think you can do it again next year, because as soon as NFL coaches get films on a team, they understand this is what the Giants do. You had a lot of teams that made halftime adjustments that changed the complexion of games for the Giants against the Giants. I always go back to the Bears game and the and the Texans game, where the Giants were running play action rollout to the right, and they gave 2 options: you either drop it off to the tight end or Daniel Jones runs. Those were the 2 options. And once the Bears and the Titans figured that out in the second half, it shut down the Giants' offense. You go back to the home game against Washington, it was the same way. We were a very one-dimensional offense. He's 100% right. And for the fact that, and he kind of alluded to what I was just talking about, maybe I should have watched the video before I had the conversation, that if you look at the running back market, if you look at the value of a running back, it may not be set by the market value. It is set by the value of the running back to the team. And when Saquon Barkley is a large focal point of your offense, that's kind of scary right then and there. I want to play this video. Hold on, I want to play this clip as well. Hold on a second. Let me see. I'm going to get this next clip about the misconception. Here we go. Let's play this. I found this interesting as well. This is really getting kind of ugly, guys.
What are you looking for? What would make, from your side, what do you think needs to happen to get the deal done?
What do I think needs to happen to get the deal done? At the end of the day, I would like to address that. I feel like there's been some things out there that's been misleading. Obviously the sources or the stories that have been out there. But I've been public. I came out public. I've been open about it. I said I want to be a Giant for life. This is where I want to be. And at the end of the day, it's all about, something that respectable. It's all about respect. And that's really what it is.
Are you saying that the reports of deals you allegedly turned down are inaccurate?
Yeah, it's misleading for sure. I think I've came out and said that I want to be a Giant for life. I came out and said that I'm not trying to reset the running back market. So, for those reports to come out and try to make me look like I'm greedy or whatever, that's not even close to being the truth. But it is what it is.
It's all about respect. And I think that's interesting. It's all about respect. And in some regards, if you take a look at what his meaning was to this team, the Giants are kind of disrespecting him. I love it. There was someone put a comment in one of the videos the other day, and they talked about how Saquon Barkley was injured and how he's only had 2 big seasons and 4 or 5, and he had this, and the Giants weren't successful when he wasn't on the field, but it was the injuries that were causing his issues, and it was his poor play that one year that caused his issues, so that's why the Giants shouldn't pay him. And I just, in the comment section, I said to the guy, okay, now take that entire paragraph that you wrote and take the word Saquon Barkley and insert Daniel Jones. Because it's the same thing. Except the matter is this, Saquon Barkley has had one all-world season. He had the season in year 2 where he still ran for over 1,000 yards, but he was hurt. And he got hurt trying to catch a ball that was thrown poorly by Daniel Jones. We're going to talk about that. Year 3, he blew out his ACL. And then he comes back strong. He didn't come back strong, but it takes at least 2 years to recover. But he comes back strong last year. But he still played in 2022. So he's had, out of those years, he's had 2 phenomenal seasons. And Daniel Jones has never reached the pinnacle that Saquon Barkley. No one sits there and says that Daniel Jones is the top 2, the top 5 running back. But the Giants paid him. And I've said this a million times before. They paid him off what they perceive his value to this team is going to be. Now, the problem is this. You got a guy like Saquon Barkley who's talking about it's all about respect. And he said it before, I want to remain a Giant for life. Which is fine, which is great. But at the end of the day, this is a business. And I always go back, you think about Bell in Pittsburgh who sat out a year. And you hope that Saquon doesn't want to go down that road. But if he goes down that road, Saquon to me is the type of guy that he could, I think he loves the game. I think he loves to play the game. But I think he is one of those guys that at the end of the day, that if he decided that he wanted to hang it up and quit, he would do that. That he would quit and he would have no reservations about quitting and he could go do something else. If you go back into history and you go back into time, and like I said, I know I run old school, I know that, but I always think of the Minnesota Vikings running back Robert Smith. Robert Smith at Ohio State, 21st pick overall, 2-time Pro Bowler, second time, what was he? He was a second team All-Pro, one of the 50 greatest Vikings. He was a guy that had this great NFL career, had a wonderful NFL career, and then he kind of just decided, he's like, okay, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done. I've done what I can do. I've reached the pinnacle. I've reached success. Do I want to continue playing? Do I want to keep putting my body into this position? He went to medical school. He retired at 28. He retired at 28 after having 4,000-yard seasons in a row. He had his last season, which was in 2020, he had 1,521 yards and 7 touchdowns. But he quit. He was done. and he went on to do other things. Now, the thing about me with Saquon Barkley is I feel Saquon Barkley is kind of a little bit like Robert Smith. He is an intelligent, articulate man who has other options outside of football. Sometimes certain football players, that's just what they do. That certain football players, they're just, that's what they are. That's what they'll be their entire life. They will always be a football player. And I think that is the kind of thing that is kind of what gets to me a little bit. I'm going to try playing this clip also as well. Hold on. We got another clip I want to try playing. Hold on 1 second.
Do I think the human side of me, you can come out and you can say how you feel, this, that, third, but being a professional and realizing, understanding the business, it's a business. It's a sad reality of it. I never thought it would have to be this difficult to come to this point, but I got tagged. And when you get tagged, they have all the leverage. There's a lot of stuff that I can go into, but I feel like that, we say family business is family business in that facility, in that building, and I'm going to stick to that. So it's not much, I'm going to go too much into that, but it's a business. They can do what they want to do. Mm-hmm.
You talked about, John said when he talked to you originally, several months back, and you getting the tag, you weren't happy with it. Nobody's happy, getting tagged. How would you describe your feelings of the whole situation? I would say, well, everyone came out and said that I'm frustrated. Well, no one wants to get tagged. I mean, if you put anybody in a position, nobody wants to get tagged. But I don't think it was, the thing that I'm frustrated most about is, like how I said, family business is family business, and then sources come out and stories get leaked and then come from me. So that's the only thing that I would say where frustrations come from. But I understand it. I'm well known, I'm mature enough to understand, this is the business, this is the NFL side of it, this is how it goes, this is how it works. So me getting tagged, was I upset about it? No one wants to get tagged, but to sit here and say I was frustrated, I was mad, I was upset, what really got me upset is that the stories that got leaked out and how misleading they were and how untruthful they were, and I felt like it was trying to paint a narrative of me or paint a picture of me that's not even the truth, not even close to being the truth.
Now, we heard that end part before, and I laugh because I went to the rookie dinner, the rookie meet and greet, which was great because Big John, it was funny because he was answering some questions, John Michael Schmidt, and he actually came out and said at one point in time, what happens in the building stays in the building. And that's always been the mantra of any time, I don't in professional football and college football, even when I played, that what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. And I just find it interesting that the Giants have ingrained that even into their rookies. What happens in this building stays in this building. And Saquon points that out again. But the fact that, I will tell you this, back in the Gettleman days, we I don't want to say broke news here, but we reported stuff that turned out to be probably 85% accurate. And a lot of the reasons are, and I can talk about this now because everyone's gone. A lot of reasons was that because I knew someone that worked in the building. I knew someone that was in the building, and he would tell me things. And I would come on and I would tell them to you guys. And I will tell you this, since the Shane or not has come on, I don't get any information outside of the building anymore because also because of the fact the person I knew was no longer there. But there's no leaks out of this building. So to me, to the point that Saquon is pointing out that there are leaks, I believe fully these are planned leaks by the Giants. I really do. And it's a business, and I'm not saying, NFL teams do this. I remember them doing it back in Tampa. I remember them doing it in Tampa with Warren Sapp. I remember that. I remember that clearly. So, but you know what? It's just business. That's all it is. And yeah, it's the personal side of business, and you can get pissed about it. But at the end of the day, like you said, nobody wants to get tagged. The top 3 running backs got tagged. This is turning into an ugly situation. This is turning into a situation that, as time goes on and time continues to go on, this is going to get uglier and uglier. And for Saquon basically to come out and say, listen, shit's being said that I didn't say, and shit's being leaked that didn't come from us, he's pointing to the fact that it's coming from the Giant organization. I'm worried that this is going to hit a fever pitch. I am concerned that this is going to reach a crescendo that it's just going to be bad. And if Saquon sat out the season, I didn't think that was an option a couple weeks back, but after watching this interview and watching to what he said, I'm getting a little bit more concerned that this is more of a viable option, that he will sit out the 2023 season. I'm not saying I know anything about it. I'm not saying anything, but I just find it interesting that he seems to be a little upset that the Giants are, and he even kind of talked about the fact that he feels like he's almost being diminished of what he has done on the field the last couple of years and his importance to the team. And you go out and you give Daniel Jones all that money. And like I said, I love the fact that he turned around and said, I don't blame Daniel Jones. I'm not trying to turn this on Daniel Jones, but we were a one-dimensional team. He didn't say we were a one-dimensional passing team. He was right. We are a one-dimensional running the ball team. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting. Make sure you stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of videos this week with the start of mandatory minicamp. We're going to do a live stream again on Sunday. If you missed the live stream last Sunday, yesterday, go back and watch it. I had a lot of good stuff in it from me and R0B. Again, this is Tim. This is New York Giants Straight Talk. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget that ring that bell because you know why? That'd be awesome.